I guess we have got to take up the story about 80 years ago in April of 1942, when during a very intense Luftwaffe German bombing, Barry's Royal Opera House was severely and extensively damaged. A very catastrophic kind of event, even in the collective memory of the people, because the Opera House was a very much loved building. In February of 1953, there was an official pronouncement in the government gazette that there will be an international competition. 6 international architects will be invited. These were handpicked to make proposals and submissions to reconstruct the Opera House. The government was proposing that there would be some kind of preliminary competition amongst local architects to select one architect to participate with the other foreign architects. Apparently there was quite a heated conversation on the phone between the president of the Commonwealth Periti and the Prime Minister himself that this was not on. And these came from different backgrounds. Marcello Piacentini, an Italian architect, kind of conservative wing of architecture in Italy during the fascist period. Marcello Zevellani Rossi. And then there was a French architect by the name of Auguste Perret, who is the pioneer, one can say the father, of the use of reinforced concrete. Then there was, the fourth one was an Austrian architect by the name of Eric Bolsteren. Other 2 architects were English architects, Alistair MacDonald, who was the son of the Labour Prime Minister in England, Ramsay MacDonald. And the other architect was Richard Nixon, who later on went to do the General Workers' Union building in South Street. So it was quite a mixed bag. You had English, French, Italian architects there. First of all, they were invited, and I mean their visit was financed, to come to Malta and to stay here for a month, all of them, to visit the place and then to make their proposals. Now, what's very interesting is how these participants related to this, because some of them were very willing to just go with the flow and adhere to the strict regulations. Others defied it completely by not integrating the ruins and going for a totally different modernist approach. Some were almost trying to almost replicate to a high degree what the original architect of the Opera House had proposed. And at the other diametrically opposed end, Richard Nixon's modern block structure, but actually Nixon's proposal was the one that was most popular with the local architects. Obviously there were the jury members, and they went for the scheme of Zevellani Rossi, a design stile littorio, a stripped down form of classicism. So in between kind of modern but classical lines. Now there was a seal of approval. If you look at the plans, the Zevellani Rossi scheme, I think scheme B if I recall well, has the wax seal, red wax seal, signed by Borch Olivier. In fact, there was even money voted in the budget to start off works. However, there was a change in government. The Labour government came into power and they said, look, this is not a priority. The country has much more other pressing issues. So that basically led to a situation where for many, many years, that site was a limbo. And it was only in the 1980s, late 1980s, when then there were the other next attempt, the next wave to try to do something about it. But the 1953 international competition was a very good, interesting experiment and laboratory. And in a way, we're also very privileged and lucky to have these drawings and schemes by some of Europe's most important architects at the time. And I think it really gives us an insight into also the socio-political context at the time and even what people's opinions were about it. So I think it's a tragic and a beautiful story at the same time.